So, how's it going? I'm making a couple of steak flippers. Where did I go with these? Like these. I have a market on Sunday, so I need to make a whole bunch of these. Sup? Racer? Sure. Shout out Racer 7. How's it going? Making these camp steak flippers to sell. Just getting it forged to square and drawn out real quick. We've got 3 in the forge, so I'm just gonna be going. Let me know if the audio is good. I think it should be good, but sometimes tech does weird things. There we go. Starting to get it drawn out. Stretch out. There's a pretty good amount of forging on these, even on this rebar smaller stock. But it's not too bad if you've got a big hammer. They're just turning it over the horn on it. So, how's it going? Working on some camp steak flippers for a market on Sunday. Just drawing them out real quick over the horn. Starting to get them pointy. Yeah, I do knife making as well. That's what I mostly do, but knives don't sell quite as well at a small local farmer's market. At least not at the prices I have to charge for them. So, gotta make other stuff as well. So, yeah, knife making's cool. There's a little bit more required tools than just for blacksmith projects like this. But it's worth it. Though for knife making, you do pretty much need some kind of indoor space to work. You can't just do outdoor work because you need to be able to finish the knife somewhere, and you can't really do that if you don't have a covered area to keep your finishing tools. So you got it's like a corner of a garage. or a shed or something. As long as it's got power, really, that'll work. I have a house. So. Good luck. Thank you, lad. Yeah, I'm gonna make Damascus. Yeah, I've done some work with Damascus. I haven't made any myself because the the material is pretty expensive. Like you need to get a whole bunch of 1084 and 15N20. Like my forge is capable of forge welding. I've done forge welding. That's one of the other big hurdles is you need to be able to forge weld it. I can do that. That's not the issue. The issue is that getting steel for making Damascus, like, it's not super expensive, but it's expensive enough that it's not really economical for me to do, especially since it costs Damascus knives, take so much work, and it costs so much money to make them that they're hard to sell, especially at like a small local farmers market, because like people aren't going to be paying $300, $400, $500 for a knife at a small local farmers market. It's just not going to happen. Fine, you can try, but good luck. You know what I mean? So you can, like, I've made some Damascus knives. All the Damascus knives I make are either a commission or someone approaches me with the idea and it's like, hey, I want this made, and I'm like, this is how much it's gonna cost, and they're like, yep, go for it. And then you make it, and then they pay you, or I pay you half, and then you make it, and I pay the other half, and you give it to them, or however you do it. But like that, you're pretty much guaranteed to get your money. But just making them to sell at a market, you're not at all guaranteed to get your money. In fact, with big ticket items like that, you're probably not going to get your money back. And that is not a risk I can take right now. I just can't really afford to do that. But Damascus is real fun to work with. And when done right, it looks really, really good. Hell, even when done wrong, it looks cool. When done right, man, that stuff looks awesome. So, yeah, that's that. I'll read chat after this one. You got the point? Yeah. I'll ramble a little bit if you get me on point. Let's see, where's some of my Damascus stuff I've been working on? Yeah, I've got, I'll get the other one too. I've got a couple Damascus daggers. The other time I'll do work with Damascus is for a collaboration. I've got a couple Damascus daggers in progress. I haven't worked on them in a while, but you can see. Can you see the pattern there? Yeah, that's that pattern, and it's gonna be pretty. They're gonna be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm a blacksmith. Brake trains, ball bearings, stuff like that. Yeah, that's cool. If you're gonna be making Damascus out of like random stuff like that, especially chains, But ball bearing, stuff like that, you need to do a canister, which isn't really something I can do because generally canisters end up being pretty big to be like efficient. You need to have a pretty good amount of room in there. You know, and it's just me here with my hammer. I don't have a power hammer or press or anything like that. So while canister Damascus is theoretically possible, it's not really practical for me to try and make. Because like there's just so much thickness there that you can't really forge it efficiently, even with a big old 5.5 pound hammer like this. You just can't forge it efficiently. And then obviously you need all the powdered metal, and that stuff's not super cheap. And it takes a lot of time. So you get the idea. Especially since I went full time. I don't have a ton of time for doing my own projects, and you know, it's just more difficult to do things, especially since you work something full time. You generally want to go home and not do that. I'm just knocking in all the corners right now. Taking it from square, I drew it out square, and then I'm taking it to octagonal, and then I'll go from octagonal to round. Let me catch up on chat real quick. For forging, yeah, I only use hand tools. I have a belt grinder and drill press and all that for the finish work, but for forging, just me and my hammer. I don't have a press or a power hammer or anything like that. Yeah. When the pattern, I'm assuming you're talking about the daggers. As you take it up through the grits, and also that was a quick like 5-minute test etch. You get a proper, nice finish etch. It's really nice. But yeah, if I think you mentioned you're wanting to learn bladesmithing, it's not super hard to learn. Like as long as if you're working in the trades or anything like that, and you have like the strength and the hand-eye coordination to swing your hammer properly, you'll be fine for the actual forging. Now, the forging theory and understanding how the material moves just comes with time. You can kind of learn that either from someone teaching you or like watching a whole bunch of like YouTube or something. That's how I learned. But really, like, you just need to forge a whole bunch of stuff and you'll get more and more efficient as time goes on. Now I'm going from octagonal to round. So when I drew out the whole length of this, I drew it out square, so 4 sides, and then I knocked in all the corners to make it octagonal, or 8 sides, and now I'm just spinning it and tapping it, and now it's nice and round and smooth-ish. Let's do this one. Let's see what y'all are saying. So, Roy, how's it going? We're making some camp steak turners. It's a set I forged earlier. We've got 3 in the forge. Yeah. Okay. So forge, yeah. Come on, spin around. There you go. So I got my forge in here. I got Atlas knife and tool propane forge right there. It's the Atlas Plus, and then I have the jerry-rigged using the original Atlas burner. I have it converted to forced air, so that's running at 5 psi right now, and it's hella efficient and nice and hot too. It works good. And yeah, and we're just working on getting this thing forged out. When you have this much iron in the fire, like I could just, if I wasn't streaming, I would just be going. No pauses at all. With chat and stuff, I'll pause to read chat every so often, but that is technically not efficient because there's hot iron in the fire and I could be forging it. So like earlier when I forged those other 3, I was just going for it. And normally for forge 2 pieces of steel in the fire is like you get like maybe 80 or 90% uptime. So before 80 and 90% of the time, like that it takes for the steel to heat up is how long the steel stays hot, basically. I don't know how well I'm conveying the idea, but basically you can you don't have much downtime. You have a little bit generally. Like if you just put one piece back and grab the other one, it's not quite hot enough, but it's pretty darn close. My other hammer. But with 3, you have like maybe 120, 130% uptime, where the steel doesn't cool down fast enough for you to finish the heat before the next heat is ready. So it is technically not efficient, but it's that or not being pretty close but not quite full uptime. Now if I had 2 people going, then like I got my other anvil over there. If I had one of my buddies here and he was working with me, then that would be a whole different story. We'd probably have 4 or 5 in there, and that would be closer to 100% uptime. Yeah. All right, we got that all rounded out, and then sharpened. Sharpening on the anvil takes some skill. For like a point like that, you have to be real careful not to split the point. I'm pretty sure I didn't. I might have just a tiny little bit. But yeah, you have to be pretty close to careful to not split it. If you forge too cold or you forge too far one way and try and go back the other way, it'll split, and then you'll have a little crack in your point and you have to grind that off and go again. So it's best to take a couple of heats to get it sharpened and pointy. But yeah, that's that one drawn out and rounded out. And we'll sharpen it next heat. max 2 heats maybe. I will be cleaning all these up with a file later, and then maybe some Scotch-Brite or something to make sure it's a smooth surface for these steak turners, or anything really that's going to be coming in contact with food. You want a pretty smooth surface finish so that you don't get food bits and pieces like getting stuck in cracks and stuff and going bad, because that's no good for anybody. And at best, it's like an inconvenience, and a little bit you have to be careful washing it, and at worst, people get sick, which is bad, obviously. And especially like a crack in the point, which it looks like this one might have cracked. Yeah. All right, let's see. What's up, Toph? How's it going? So I don't know if that's going to focus on that. Doesn't look like it, but there is indeed a crack in there, so I'm going to go grind it out. Loud noises in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. There we go. All right. Just grind the point off and start again. There it is. Let me get. I'll brush it off a little bit, try and get that junk off the end of there. Let's see what y'all been saying. So, like, subscribe. Oh yeah, thanks, Toph. Any kiddos can say? Yeah. Let's see. I have a couple moderators. None of them are here. But yeah, we'll just get that point started. And now that it's cold and unsplit, I'm just going to put it back in the forge. Like, there's no reason to risk splitting it when I can just put it back in the forge and heat it back up and do it next heat. These are a pretty quick project. And it only takes another like 30 seconds to not split the tip. And it's absolutely worth that 30 seconds. Right? So, yeah. See, now we're back to the original one. Didn't hardly waste any time at all. We can make sure we don't have to redo things. Around here, we try to avoid doing things twice. Do it right the first time, because I did it twice a couple of times, and that sucks. And you can round out the point, but I find it just increases. Crap, I'm sorry. All right, get that plugged in. But I find that like trying to round out the point, it doesn't, there's no reason to. It doesn't increase performance at all, like not even a little bit. And it doesn't really make it look any cleaner, or it doesn't look wrong. And it increases your chances of splitting the point just so much that it's just not worth it. But yeah. Now that we've about got all the points forged out, we have to forge the actual turning point of this turning part of the stake turner. The part that turns it. God, I cannot speak today. The part that makes this less of a prison shank and more of a useful cooking tool. I'm not in the habit of selling prison shanks. At least I'm not in the habit of selling prison shanks that don't have any other uses. I'll say that. So really, if you think about it, anything's a prison shank if you create it. All right, so just wire brush that off. The wire brush will also help round it out. It'll just take off some of the high points, and then we'll just get this all straightened out and nice, because we lost the heat up in the end, and we need that heat for what we're going to be doing next. If any of y'all are spending much time blacksmithing or in the blacksmithing community, or maybe in the cooking community, or you know what I'm making, you know what I'm going to do next. But we'll do that. Yeah, there's a pretty good amount. I'm part of the started because of Forged in Fire generation. That's not really why I started, but that's the generation of smiths I'm part of. Like, if you talk to pretty much any smith my age, I'm 18. You talk to most any smith my age, and you ask them why they started, they'll say Forged in Fire. I was watching blacksmithing on YouTube before I watched any Forged in Fire, but Forged in Fire sure didn't hurt anything, that's for damn sure. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. But yeah, there's a decent amount of us in this generation of smiths. It's not like heaps. There's not tons and tons and tons, and it's not like there's overwhelmingly many. But I'm pretty sure there's more blacksmiths in like my generation of blacksmiths than in the last generation before me, which would be like the millennial generation. So, you know, there's that. And yeah, we're just getting them shaped into these little hook type shapes. And then we'll just bend it over like that, so that you get this and you can pick up your stake and flip it, and it works pretty darn good. Normally stake turners end up being like super duper long and like unwieldy. And like, sure, you can use it, but if it's like 2-3 feet long, then you know it's a lot of stake turner you gotta deal with. What was I saying? I completely forgot. I'm gonna be honest with you. But yeah, these little ones. These are like These are camping stake turners. So they're like shorter, like 8 inches long total, maybe. Shout out to Eric at the Rivers Experience for the idea. He's probably saving my butt right now because I don't know what I was gonna be doing, but well, it's not counting the eggs before they hatch, but I do need this market this Sunday to go well, and now with these, there's a much better chance. But yeah, that's that pretty much done, and it's small enough that you can just toss it in your bag or something. But yeah, there we go. What was I saying? But yeah, Eric at the Rivers Experience, Eric Rivers, he's a fantastic dude. He has a fantastic YouTube channel that he does lots of live streams on. So, hella shout out to him. Stake tournament number 2. And there's so much stuff you can make when you're a blacksmith that like it's kind of hard. It's almost hard to think of things because it's like thinking like if you're an artist and you're drawing stuff, like you can make literally anything. You can draw literally anything as long as you have the requisite skill. So deciding what to do is tough. So that's why inspiration is so cool. And like talking to other people, and like I was watching Eric's live stream on Saturday, and he was showing a couple of these he made, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'm gonna get some of them because I needed something to make for this market, you know. We finished up this first set, so I got the next set in the forge. And like I said, like at the time I was looking for a project, or not looking for a project. I have a million projects, but I was looking for something that I can make a whole heap of. Alrighty, audio's back. Sorry about that. These. Okay, audio's back. Hell yeah. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I don't know how much you missed, but I'm not going to repeat it. It was mostly not important. Let's see. How much are you selling them for? These are probably going to be $20, like plus shipping, if I sell any online, which I probably won't, or 25 show prices. Better? Awesome. Thanks, Edward. Thanks, Anonymous. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry. But yeah, that'll be like $20 plus shipping if I sell them online, which will probably just be like Instagram DM sales, basically. Hammers. I made some when I first, like the first live strems that I did, like that were any good or like popular at all. I was making hammers. It's kind of an interesting story because, like I said, I'm full-time at this, and so my job, I work for a guy teaching classes and now doing production work also. And at the time, the class that I was teaching was hammer and knives, and it was the first class taught together, and this was like fall of last year, so like October, November, or late fall, early winter last year. And so I was newer than I am now. I honestly should have known better, but we greatly overestimated how much how fast children, because the classes are for kids, they're kids classes, and we greatly overestimated what kids would be able to get done. So I ended up doing a lot of overtime to get all the hammers done, and I live streamed it all because that was just the easiest way to track how much time, I spent working on, how much overtime I ran, and it ended up like being 15 hours basically. And so that was the first live streams I did, and it was all just me. Like not half the kids, but some kids hadn't even finished punching their hammer eyes in 8 weeks, let alone drifting. And so I had to finish punching them all, get them all drifted, and it was a lot, like just a 4-hour stream of me just going at it every day for like a week almost. And those did shockingly well. And so at the time, I'd had the YouTube channel for like a year and a half, 2 years, coming up on 2 years at that point. And I was at like 500 subscribers. And I got like 300 subscribers from those live streams all put together. And now I was like, oh, I can live stream, and that'll be awesome because I don't have to edit it, because I suck at editing and I hate it. So I was thrilled about that. But yeah, long story short, I made some hammers, not many good ones, but I made some hammers. But yeah, and then that was 8 months ago, maybe about, and I've been live streaming relatively consistently since then. What am I selling? actively selling, nothing. But like if you want a camp steak flipper, hit me up on Instagram, or I guess email too. I think it's in my YouTube bio. It's duckrabbitforaging@gmail.com. You can grab yourself a camp steak flipper. But yeah, and then I've been live streaming since, and now I'm at like 2,500 about subscribers in like 8 months, which is wild. And I haven't even been live streaming like full time. If I was live streaming full time, it would be a lot even more than that, I'll bet. You know. So yeah. Let's see what the hook's used for. They are for flipping over your steaks when you're grilling. And you can use them for other stuff too. You can use them for sausages, chicken, or whatever the hell you're cooking. But basically, you got this little point here, and you poke it in, you scoop it up, and you can flip over your steak and spin it out like that. And these are little short, small ones for when you're camping, so you don't have to take some great big long steak flipper when you just need a little one. And they're nice and quick and easy to make. They're relatively cheap to buy. And they're cool, useful, and they're fun to make. Kind of. Not like, oh my god, this is so awesome. But I ain't complaining about it. So I haven't done much foraging in a while, so my hand's getting a little torn up. I think after these three, maybe another 20 minutes or so, I'm going to call it so I don't tear up my hand too much, because I'm going to be demonstrating at my local farmer's market. It's kind of like a craft market type thing. Not a ton of farmers there. This isn't a super farmer rich area, but anyways, I'm going to be demonstrating there, and that's like a 3-hour demonstration, and I need to be able to like do it. And like, I guess that's not quite the right way to say it. I will do it. It's just about how much it sucks. It's probably sucked quite a lot. But yeah, we're just drawing that out. How much for a knife? Well, that depends greatly upon what kind of knife you're talking about. If it's a little petty or small chef's knife, maybe 150, 200, or a little EDC knife or something like that. Then it could be like 150, 200. If you just want a little bench, full tank bench knife, no handle scales or anything like that, just little forging, little grinding, little heat treat, maybe like could be as low as like $100. But if you want like a chef's knife or a Bowie or something like that, that'll be 300, 400, 500, depending on materials and finish and all that. And then if you want something even bigger than that, why, now I'm interested. But yeah, depends what you've got in mind. So yeah, if you want a knife, and I guess you could type it out in the it's the Wi-Fi. Alrighty, whatever. We're back now. But yeah, Oscar. What's up, rest of y'all? See if we can get this stream back on track. Yeah, we're back now. Split it or folded it. What's this? What's going on? Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, RJ. What am I doing? I am forging. Thank you so much, RJ. That's awesome. I'm forging some steak turners. These are short little camping steak turners for when you're cooking your T-bones at camp. And I'm not sure what you're mad about, but you can do it somewhere else. But yeah, pretty annoyed myself here. You probably aren't going to be able to see it, but I folded over the tip of that, forged it too thin and folded over the tip. So we're going to get some loud noises in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay. That's the loud noises. If you fold over the point or whatever like that, you just grind it off. There's no point in trying. There's no reason to try to fix it by it just doesn't. Just don't. There's no point. God, I did it again. It doesn't work, basically. There we go. I got that cleaned up. I'm about ready to round that out. There, morning or evening? It is evening here. Let's see, it's 6 o'clock. Smack on. Swap over to the small hammer. Yeah, it is 6 o'clock in the evening. I'll get the small hammer now and clean this up. All right, I got it mostly straight, nice and square, and now we'll start forging it round. So how do you do that? Basically, you take this square that we've got, and you knock in the corner so it's an octagon. And then once you've got the octagon, then you can just spin it round and round and round while you're hitting it actively. And then like you can just spin it around and round and round while you're hitting. And then that'll go from take it from octagon to round. Maybe if it's like a really big stock, like if you got like 1 inch, then you'll need to go to 16 sides before you can go to round. But there's not much point with little small stuff like this. There, so you can kind of see we've got octagonal Creation, much good health to you, and good health to you. Thank you. So now that we've got, it's not super octagonal. I'll probably do another heat, make it a little more octagonal. And then you can forge it round, and then it'll be basically done. All right. See what y'all are saying. I think I saw. So, I was a 4-piece here. These are steak turners. So it's for, you can poke in, pick up your steak, and flip it over. You can sausage or chicken or whatever. And these are camp ones, so they're nice and small, and you can pack them places, and they're cool. There, so it's octagonal. Not super octagonal, but it is octagonal. And so yeah, that's what these are for. They're pretty cool. I got this idea from Mr. Eric Rivers over at the Rivers Experience. He's an awesome YouTube channel. You should go subscribe to him. And that's where I got this idea. So now we've got it fully octagonalized, and now you just tap and spin like that, and that'll round it out. If you try and go straight from square to round using the tap and spin method, then it twists it, which could look kind of cool, but you also won't get an even roundness. It'll be all weird and lumpy, and it's just not good. You need to go to octagonal minimum. telling me. I think that means that both of my microphones are dead or close to it. So it's a good thing we're almost done. Okay, so this microphone is dying. Back on frequently. Alright, there. Now we should have audio from the phone speaker. Can you all hear me? Alright, have a good one, RG. Alright, can someone tell me if the audio is back on? Getting these all rounded out. So, duck, mule, how's it going? It's the audio, because both of my microphones died, and I'm just on I don't know if the phone speakers, it should be on the phone microphones, but I have no idea, because tech does dumb stuff sometimes. Alright, I'll take that as a yes. But yeah, I'm just working on some of those camp steak turners that Eric was making. Oh, and I got a nice hat. Make them out of square bar and do some twists. Twists are overrated. Or maybe not overrated, but overused. Like, people do twists so often, and especially like a real basic twist. like this just, they're overdone, right, in my opinion. Like, sure, they look cool, not that cool. It takes damn near zero skill to do. And I think the rebar texture looks cooler than the twist texture. And twisted rebar looks cool too, though these ones, there's not a great way to twist it. Unless I was gonna do a little, like, pommel ball on the bottom, on the end or something to take off the front. But yeah, twists are not that good. And I don't have a good price. So, this sucks. There's your hot take for today. Same thing as same thing as like multi-piece scales or mosaic pins or stuff like that, and like super basic. Again, present company excluded, but like a super basic knife that doesn't take much skill to make, or especially like multi-piece, fancy multi-piece scales and mosaic pins on a crappy knife with uneven bevels and huge hammer dents from when it was forged poorly. Like that kind of stuff has turned me off of mosaics, or mosaic pins and multi-piece scales and all that. Your knives, Neil Power Forge in the chat, very cool. Y'all go follow him. He's gonna do a live stream, I think. Mosaic pins and multi-piece scales on a low quality crappy knife, or yeah, so there you go. Sure. High quality materials used improperly, I guess I'll say, is one of my it annoys me greatly. Because, like, spent 40, 50, maybe 60 bucks on this nice set of mosaic scales, and you're going to put it on your forged, but really mashed up and then surface ground piece of bar stock, and cut a handle out of it, and then you're gonna drill your pinholes and put in your $20 mosaic pins and use that to put on your fancy resin multi-piece scales that someone took a lot of time to make. And then you're going to sell it for $200. Like, come on. You didn't put $200 worth of skill into that. You put $20 worth of skill, $180 worth of materials. Totally isn't just me being salty because I'm poor. got the first batch of production hook picks going. Oh, sick! You're doing some of those? Those are cool. That's something I've kind of wanted to make at some point. Like those kind of like farrier type tools. Those are cool. But the farrier tools market is pretty. I don't know. That's not what I want to make. Like to sell. More just like, hey, I made this thing. I know how to make this specific tool if anyone asks me to. And I have like an example. And I have some farrier friends locally that I can be like, hey, check this thing out. I made this thing that you, as the thing that you do. Haha, cool. And then, you know, you can do that. But yeah, not something I'd actually want to make though, the farrier tools market. So I guess you could make pretty good money doing those too. And I think that would be something that's good in your style. But I feel like it would be, by the way, here's a finished one. I feel like that's something that would be good in your style and like your way of making things. Where it's nice, but it's nice in such a way that won't go away that when you use it for 8 years in the most brutal environment known to humans. You know? Like, this stuff isn't like, this is fancy and nice and it's got this awesome Damascus pattern that looks super cool, but then you go to use it and it is no longer fancy and nice. Like, this stuff is nice in a way that it stays nice after you've used it for years and years and years. And I think you do good with the I think you do good with the farrier tools. Just a forged thing from scrap, picking and yeah. And my card is scales, or you do your own like multi-tool scales that are pretty cool. I feel like that would be a good fit for that type of tool, assuming like I'm correctly understanding what you're talking about. There you go. There's another one. That's probably all the stuff I'm going to forge for today because I got a big ass blister. I don't know how much you could hear me about with all that, but we're built to the same standards. Obviously, almost indestructible. I done the best stress. It's 100. Nice. Get shit off here. Way overbuilt. Yeah, that's the idea. That's the same with all your stuff. But yeah. Let's see. Let's fish all these out. These three I forged earlier before I went and got my snack lunch. And then 6 in the last like hour something, hour 20. The stream died for a sec, so the timer reset. I think it was at about an hour, so like hour and a half, 6 in an hour and a half. So one of y'all geniuses can do the math and tell me how much time that is per butt. Yeah, that's this stream. That's the ones I did before. I drew out these ones on stream a little farther apparently than these ones. Don't know how that flips steak. So basically what you do, you got this little hook, and then you can pick up your steak like that, and it pokes a hole in the steak, but that's fine. It doesn't dry it out. Trust me. It does. You pick up your steak and you can flip it over and out like that. So like hook in, pick it up and drop it. Like so. They're pretty cool. And these will be camp ones. I think I got one order just from people watching the stream. Yeah, they're pretty interesting. You know Derek Melton? He's a blacksmith down in Mississippi. He does a whole bunch of he does a whole bunch of steak flippers and such things, and he has a whole heap of videos. You should check him out. He's cool. He's a cool guy, and he does a whole heap of steak flippers and such things, and he's real cool. He's like a production blacksmith, so he's got like just steak flippers and bottle openers, and just he's got his variety of different things that he makes, and then he makes them to order for his website, and like pretty much, yeah. Spatulas would be something else that's cool. I was thinking about doing like meat forks, because these are made, here, I'll show you what they're made from. These are each made from roughly 6 inches of rebar. So just draw it out a whole bunch and then rivet a spatula or split it into a meat fork, I think would also be cool. Yeah, and like same style with the little rebar handle and then the forged out thing. That could be cool as well. I might experiment with this. These are going to be for a market I have on Sunday. And so yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then I'll blast them on Instagram and stuff too, though I don't have a ton of confidence in how well it's gonna go. Or how much results I'm gonna get from that. I need something to sit on. But yeah. So I might experiment with some of those things. I might experiment with other streaming apps. There's a streaming app called Whatnot, where you go live, and it's live streaming combined with like a shopping app, so people can scroll through the live streams and sell things or buy things that the streamers are selling. And so I figured that might be good for smaller, cheaper items like this. So yeah, but I am tired, a little bit hungry, so I'm gonna turn off the live stream now, and I'm gonna go eat some food probably. Have a good one. I'll probably tune into most, if not all, of your live stream. Mule, the rest of y'all that are watching, go subscribe to Mule. He's cool. He does the thing as well that I do. He does it better, actually, or at least he does what he does better than I could do what he does. He's a pretty sick dude. So yeah, go subscribe to him. Subscribe to me also. That's important. Yeah, he's making content. At least making a little bit of content, making a lot of knives, trying to get the thing going and trying to do the thing. So yeah, that's it for me. I'll stop yapping. I will go eat some dinner. Have a good one, y'all.